At the dawn of World War I in the summer of 1914, Europe was plunged into a conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation. Sparked by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, the war quickly drew in the great powers, with the Allies and Central Powers locked in a deadly struggle. As the Russian Empire, one of the largest and most diverse realms, mobilized its vast resources and manpower, an extraordinary event unfolded in the remote Caucasus Mountains. In 1915, nearly a year into the war, a band of Georgian men, known as the Khevsurs, descended from their isolated mountain villages. Clad in chain armor and wielding shields and broadswords reminiscent of medieval crusaders, they rode into Tbilisi, eager to join the fight. This remarkable moment, where ancient warrior traditions intersected with the brutal realities of modern warfare, underscored the unique cultural legacy of the Khevsurs and their enduring spirit in the face of global conflict.
The nation slithered over the brink into the boiling cauldron of war. Amongst the rulers and statesmen who alone could give the final word which caused great armies to spring from the ground and march to and across frontiers, not one of them wanted war.
At the onset of World War I, the Russian Empire was a vast expanse, stretching from the Pacific Ocean in the east to what is today Finland in the west. This immense territory also included most of the Caucasus regions, encompassing present-day Georgia and Armenia. Despite its size, Russia was a largely backward country by the standards of 1914. Many of its citizens were still living as serfs, bound to the land they worked, much like in the Middle Ages. In more remote areas of the empire, people could be frozen in time. The Khevsurs of Russian Georgia were one such group. Locals believed that the Kevsurs were descendants of knights who had settled in the area after the Crusades in the 12th century. Instead of journeying to the Holy Land, their ancestors moved north through Turkey and into the Caucasus Mountains. Other scholars suggest that their ancestors continued crusading, fighting Muslims in a different direction. Regardless of their origins, what is known for sure is that the Kevsurs lived relatively autonomously in their mountain settlements. They were loyal only to the ruler of Georgia and their local traditions. According to the National Parliamentary Library of Georgia, this autonomy was a natural consequence of their remote location. They went into battle wearing a red Jerusalem cross on their chests and on their flags. Georgian history remembers them as reliable warriors and guardians of the mountains who always responded to calls for the defense of Georgia. In the spring of 1915, months after Russia declared war against Turkey, the Kevsurs rode into Tiflis. Their shields and swords bore the motto, Ave Mater Dei, Holy Mary, Mother of God, the motto of the Crusaders. News of the war's outbreak had taken 7 months to reach them in their isolated mountain homes. They headed for the capital as soon as they heard what was happening, ready to fight. The story of the Kevsurs was documented by American adventurer Richard Halliburton in his 1935 book, 7 League Boots. This collection of essays chronicles Halliburton's travels off the beaten paths of the early 20th century. It includes interviews with notable figures, such as the assassin of Tsar Nicholas II and Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie I. Halliburton vividly described the Kevsurs' arrival.
In the spring of 1915, some months after Russia's declaration of war against Turkey, a band of 12th century crusaders, covered from head to foot in rusty chain armor and carrying shields and broadswords, came riding on horseback down the main avenue of Tiflis, Tbilisi. People's eyes almost popped out of their heads. Obviously, this was no cinema company going on location. These were crusaders, or their ghosts.
The historical context of the Kevsurs' story is significant. Georgians had been part of the Russian Empire since 1801, when Russia ended Persian domination of the area. Over time, Georgians and other Caucasian peoples were integrated into the Russian armed forces, participating in wars against Persia, the Ottoman Empire, and the German-led Triple Alliance in World War I. An estimated 200,000 Georgians were mobilized to fight in World War I within the Russian army. While the Kevsurs were indeed among those who fought on the front lines against Georgia's traditional Ottoman enemy, it is unlikely that their primary weapons were broadswords. Despite their medieval appearance, they would have used more contemporary arms in the trenches of World War I. The Khevsurs' journey to Tbilisi and their readiness to fight in World War I underscore the enduring warrior spirit and traditional values that characterize their unique culture. Their story is a vivid reminder of the diverse and often surprising ways in which different peoples responded to the global conflict that was World War I.